Your brain doesn't actually control your grip. Every time you consciously force your fingers shut, Golgi tendon organs trigger an autonomic brake that cuts strength by 40%. Real control only activates when you physically let go. Look at your hand. Close it. Feel the tension travel up your wrist, into your forearm. Now open it. The weight disappears. The noise stops. We spend our lives clutching outcomes, people, identities, and quiet moments, believing that holding on is the same as keeping them. It is not. The tighter you squeeze, the more you lose. We will return to this exact moment at the end. But first, understand the architecture of your own resistance. We are taught to hold everything. Hold your ground. Hold your position. Hold the line. But the hand that holds nothing can carry anything. The ancients did not see emptiness as a lack. They saw it as capacity. A river does not fight the stone. It flows around it. The canyon does not resist the wind. It shapes itself to the breath. Your life operates by the same geometry. You are exhausted because you are carrying weight that was never yours to hold. You are trying to force water into a closed fist. We confuse tension with purpose. We mistake anxiety for devotion. We believe that if we just grip harder, the chaos will finally settle. It will not. Chaos only settles when you stop feeding it your fear. Let us look at how this truth was carved into the foundations of philosophy. Let us watch what happens when a man stops fighting the current. We will come back to the mechanics of release in a moment. First, observe the cost of the opposite choice. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire that was constantly fracturing. Plague marched across the provinces. Generals plotted rebellion. The treasury bled silver. The desert winds carried whispers of invasion. He could have tightened his grip. He could have ordered executions. He could have tried to control every variable. Instead, he wrote to himself in the quiet hours before dawn. He reminded himself that the empire was not his to possess. It was only his to tend. He did not ask the gods for easier roads. He asked for a steadier step. Seneca faced exile. His wealth was confiscated. His friends were scattered. He could have raged against the machinery of fate. He could have demanded his property back. He chose to walk away with open palms. He wrote that a wise man does not lose what he never claimed. He understood that possession is an illusion. Stewardship is the only reality. When the fire burned his estate, he did not mourn the ashes. He thanked the flames for teaching him what he truly needed. Nothing but his own mind. The Stoics did not preach detachment as coldness. They preached it as clarity. They saw that the human hand was designed to receive, not to trap. Think of the old stone bridges. They do not hold the river. They let it pass. That is why they still stand. The rigid walls crack under pressure. The arched spans yield to the current. We are building our lives like rigid walls. We brace for impact. We fortify our egos. We hoard our certainty. And then we wonder why we are so tired. The senator in Rome did not survive by clinging to his title. He survived by remembering that the title was borrowed. The breath in his lungs was borrowed. The ground beneath his sandals was borrowed. When you remember that everything is borrowed, you stop trying to own it. You start tending to it. You water the garden. You do not demand the flowers never wilt. Epictetus carried a limp from a broken bone. He owned a single clay cup. When a servant dropped it and shattered the clay, he smiled. He knew the cup was fragile by nature. He refused to weep over a law of physics. This is not resignation. This is alignment. The foundation is simple. You cannot steer a ship that is already anchored to the bottom. You must raise the weight. You must trust the wind. This is the ground beneath your feet. It is solid only when you stop stomping. It holds you when you stand still. Now look at your own century. You wake to a screen that demands your attention before your eyes fully open. You scroll through curated lives. You read headlines that fracture your peace. You answer messages that belong to other people's emergencies. You grip the device. You grip your schedule. You grip the narrative you are supposed to live. The modern world is engineered to trigger the autonomic brake. It sells you the illusion of control through endless updates. It tells you that if you just check one more notification, if you just optimize one more routine, if you just hold the tension a little longer, you will finally feel secure. You will not. The algorithm feeds on friction. Every time you fight the noise, you give it more oxygen. Every time you try to force a relationship into a shape it does not fit, you fracture the foundation. Every time you demand certainty in a career that shifts like sand, you drain your own reserves. We are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. We are holding everything, yet touching nothing. Think of the glass of water. Hold it out in front of you. 1 minute is fine. 10 minutes aches. An hour paralyzes your arm. The weight never changed. Only your grip did. Your modern anxieties are the same. The deadline. The argument. The silence between two people who used to speak. The unreturned message. The bank account. The aging body. You are holding them out. You have been holding them out for years. And you wonder why your hands tremble. Let us pause here. Which burden feels heaviest to you right now? The one you carry for yourself? The one you carry for others? Or the one you imagine will arrive tomorrow? Comment 1, 2, or 3. Not for me. For you. Name it. We will return to this in a moment. But first, see the trap. You believe setting it down means losing it. You believe releasing the rope means falling. The opposite is true. The rope is pulling you off balance. The fall happens when you refuse to let go. How do you practice this without abandoning your life? You do not abandon it. You tend to it differently. The first exercise is called the morning release. Before you speak to anyone, before you touch your screen, sit for 3 minutes. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the air in your chest. Name 3 things you cannot control today. Say them aloud. Let them pass. This is calibration. You are adjusting your internal compass to the actual north. The second framework is the boundary of the open hand. When someone speaks to you, listen without preparing your defense. Let their words land. Do not catch them. Do not throw them back. Observe them like leaves on water. You will notice how much energy you waste on reactions that were never required. The third practice is the evening inventory. Review your day. Find the moments where you tightened, where you argued with reality, where you tried to bend a straight line. Forgive yourself. You were human. Tomorrow, you will try again. These are not rituals. They are resets. We built the curiosity loop earlier. I promised we would return to the opening line. Your brain does not control your grip. The autonomic brake cuts your strength by 40%. Real control activates when you physically let go. Apply this now to the project that is stalling, to the conversation you are avoiding, to the memory that keeps waking you at 2 in the morning. You are using the wrong muscle. You push when you should receive. The architect does not force the stone into place. He carves the space for it. He waits for gravity to do the work. You must become the architect of your attention. Clear the floor. Leave room for the structure to stand. Notice how your shoulders drop when you stop fighting. Notice how your breath deepens when you stop demanding answers that have not arrived. This is the mechanics of release. It is not passive. It is highly active. It requires discipline to do nothing. It requires courage to stand in the wind without bracing. You are not weak when you open your hands. You are finally ready to catch what is actually meant for you. Consider the weight of expectation. You carry it in your posture, in the way you cross your arms when walking down a crowded street, in the way you rehearse conversations in the shower. You believe you are preparing. You are actually rehearsing resistance. The Stoic exercise of negative visualization is often misunderstood. We think it means fearing loss. It does not. It means practicing gratitude for what you already hold, while acknowledging its temporary nature. When you wake, tell yourself that the sun may set on a different world tonight. Not to frighten yourself, to wake yourself. To see the coffee in your hands as a gift, not a guarantee. When you look at your family, do not look at them as fixtures. Look at them as travelers passing through your orbit. Love them fiercely, but do not chain them to your timeline. This is where most people stumble. They confuse detachment with indifference. They think letting go means walking away. It means walking forward without dragging the anchor. Think of the tree in winter. It drops its leaves. It looks dead. But it is only making room for the next season. It does not beg the autumn wind to spare its branches. It yields. And in yielding, it survives. You must learn to drop your own leaves. The grudges you polish like stones. The apologies you never sent. The versions of yourself you are still trying to resurrect. Place them on the ground. Step over them. The path ahead is narrow, but it is clear. It requires no heavy luggage. Only your two open hands and your steady gaze. We have covered the anatomy of tension, the historical proof, the modern trap, the daily practice. Now we arrive at the quiet center, the place where you actually live. If any of these ideas resonated, I've linked the books in the description. There is a moment before sleep. The body finally stops moving. The mind finally stops running. The world finally stops asking. In that gap, you can hear the truth you have been avoiding. You do not need to fix everything. You only need to stop interfering with what is already working. Look at the sky. It does not struggle to be blue. The mountain does not strain to be tall. The river does not apologize for finding the lowest path. They simply are. Your life is asking you to do the same. Not less. Just truer. You will still face storms. You will still lose things you love. You will still wake to uncertainty. But you will meet them with different hands. Open hands do not mean weak hands. They mean ready hands. They mean hands that can hold a child without crushing, that can accept praise without swelling, that can receive criticism without breaking, that can touch a wound without poisoning it. This is the discipline of the quiet life. It does not demand a stage. It only asks for presence. I will leave you with the thread we began with, the one that started this entire journey. Your brain doesn't actually control your grip. Every time you consciously force your fingers shut, Golgi tendon organs trigger an autonomic brake that cuts strength by 40%. Real control only activates when you physically let go. The paradox is complete. The strongest position is the one that offers no resistance. The deepest peace is the one that does not chase itself. You have been holding your breath for years. Exhale. The world will still be there when you open your eyes. But it will look different. It will look lighter. It will look like a place you belong to, not a fortress you must defend. Grip tightly for 3 seconds. Release. Watch the noise fade. Open hands catch everything.